Hello, everybody, and welcome to NNN News Season 3, Episode 5, your only source for truth, tenacity, and truth. As always, I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Neville Croft.
Hello, comrades. Very exciting episode today. We are joined by vicious feminist activist, Feminist Steve. Welcome, Steve. Could you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Hello, my name is Feminist Steve. I am a proud feminist, hardcore vegan, and I invented my own genre of music known as femcore.
Wow.
And also I practice witchcraft.
I mean, you just listed off several amazing things, and we're going to about to get into all of those things in the Feminist Steve interview. So let's just kick it right off with the questions. You ready for him, Steve?
Sure thing.
All right, let's get into it. My first question is, how do you get the inspiration for your amazing songs? Let's take Mrs. Brightside, for example.
Well, usually when I hear a song, I'll try to look for what messages it relays to the people that listen to it. So, for example, with something like Mr. Brightside by the Killers, I noticed that song doesn't really have a lot of purpose for the modern day, seeing as women's issues tend to be more important than men's issues.
And, I mean, also, the Killers, pretty dangerous name, to be real with you. So it's,
True.
So it's good that Feminist Steve is covering. So keep on going. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah, so what I usually try to do is I usually try to rewrite the song in order to apply it to a modern audience.
Wow.
Yeah, so, people that really need it in the modern day.
You know,
that's beautiful.
That is beautiful. You know, we need more people to update history. So thank you, Steve, for being one of them.
Wow. All right. On to the next question. So, as a non-binary feminist, do you feel that you face more backlash when you deal with people like, trolls and the alt-right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I face ambiphobia on a daily basis. I mean, for example, my father, who watches Tucker Carlson every day and is a huge Trump supporter, keeps telling me, like, hey, there's only two genders. This whole feminism thing isn't going to work out. You need to go out and get a real job. And I have to fight against that every single day.
Job?
I mean...
yeah, exactly. Like, he just doesn't understand that
feminism,
the patriarchy is my job.
It's a job, and it's a daily struggle. And also, I want to say one thing. More like Sucker Car, whatever his name is. I don't even know his name.
Yeah. What does your dad work as, Steve?
Dad works as? I'm pretty sure they're working at a cemetery right now.
Oh, well, you're more qualified than him anyway, so.
For sure. You know, I got to ask you this, you came out as a furry, and that was a really big move because there's a lot of furry phobia online. So how important is your furryism to your feminism, Steve?
Well, something I've noticed a lot from browsing on the internet is that furphobia tends to be very common, and it sort of reminds me of the issues that, like people of color had to face in the 1960s, where, they aren't able to, go about their lives without someone belittling them. I mean, if there was that one furry convention in, 2017 that, someone tried to, release mustard gas in.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Problem.
I mean, furry hate has gone so far online that, I mean, you just can't be a furry and be safe. It's scary. It really is scary.
Yeah, Nom, you're a fairy as well, aren't you? Like being a dragon.
No, I'm not. Okay, I'm an otherkin. I'm an otherkin, Nev. We don't want to mix up furries and otherkins. Okay, this isn't. But I'm not here to compare struggles. I'm not here to compare struggles with Steve here, even though otherkins have a worse. But anyway, Nev, get to your next question, which is about a furry, I think.
Yeah. So on to the next question here. So the next question is, who is Talking Ben? Why is he racist? And is he a furry?
Oh, so the thing with Talking Ben is that it's this children's app where essentially what you can do is you can ask them questions and they'll respond with yes, no, or they'll just make a sound. And I saw my little cousin trying to play on it one time. So I figured okay, this might be a good app for kids. Maybe I should test this out, see how it works. So I asked him basic questions about, feminism, social justice, racism. And I asked them if they were racist, and they said yes.
Are you for real? Talking Ben said he was racist?
Yeah, there's a video on it on YouTube. If you look at my channel, Feminist Steve, I posted evidence of Talking Ben being a white supremacist.
Everybody has to check out that video immediately because, I mean, this changes everything. So he's a racist, but he's not a furry because furries aren't racist mostly, right?
Furry, well, I feel like it's someone that's trying to infiltrate the furry community.
Oh no, that's scary. Wow.
Like you see that a lot with a lot of in the furry community. There's a lot of Nazi furs. Sort of alt-right infiltrators that try to make the furry community look bad.
That's really terrifying. I got to ask you this, and this is something that's similarly terrifying. Can you really explain to us the link between meat eating and the alt-right or fascism? Because that seems like there's a pretty clear link.
Absolutely, yeah. So when you eat meat, you are supporting the meat industry, and what the meat industry does is they are causing a genocide of animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they round them up, they throw them into slaughterhouses, and then they're forced to be consumed by other people.
And then they turn them into
didn't
chicken
consent to
nuggets.
being eaten.
Yep.
Exactly.
So scary. So wow, beautifully stated. Beautifully stated.
I've got to ask a question here as well. So before I was vegan as a child, about 3 years old, I was force-fed chicken nuggets by my parents at the time. Does this make me a co-conspirator to genocide?
Wow, Neb, that's an intense question.
I think you don't. I don't think you necessarily had a choice in that matter. You might want to file a lawsuit or something.
Yeah. Well, we have lawyer Andy on our team, so we could ask him.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have to get lawyer Andy on that.
Recommend getting in contact with them.
We need to sue your dads over that, Nev. Because that was really effed up. That was really effed up.
Well, it was only one of my dads, but yeah, it didn't make much of a difference. The other one supported it.
Anyway, because Nev decided to make up a question, I'll take his. What are the dangers of physical fitness? Because I know
the dangers of physical fitness. So, with a lot of men, especially, when you're pumping iron, when you're filling your body up with testosterone, that testosterone makes you more aggressive. It makes you more likely to go out and commit violence, right?
Wow.
But
I did a study on this where my dad took
bodybuilders be taking estrogen then instead.
I'd say that's definitely a better alternative. So I did this study where I went to my local gym, and I counted the people that were going in wearing MAGA hats, and it went up 67%.
What?
Than the week prior, and this is around the time when Donald Trump went into office.
That is insane. So you're telling me that gym bros and MAGA bros are one and the same?
Exactly.
Now that's just disturbing.
That's terrifying. That's really terrifying.
It doesn't surprise me, but I'm still disturbed by it.
Yeah, Nev, I think your mask might be upside down, Nev.
Oh.
Is that Fauci certified, Nev? Your mask? Because it's
I
upside
think
down.
my mask is, but what I want to know is, Steve, is your mask Fauci certified?
So usually in an emergency, if I have to leave the house, usually I'll just do something like this, so I'm able to go out without spreading COVID.
Yeah,
well, and that looks so natural too.
Yeah, it's like it's not even there.
It's comfortable to breathe through that material.
It's not necessarily about my comfort. It's more about the comfort of other people that might be getting COVID.
Wow, you're so giving. It's just amazing. I saw you destroy the movie American Psycho. What other movies should we purge from our film collection?
Stay as far away as you can from Taxi Driver.
Wow. All right. You guys heard it here.
Okay, I'll add that to the list.
Yeah, add it to the list now.
So Taxi Driver is probably one of the most reprehensible films I think I've ever seen. I couldn't even finish it. It was that bad.
And that's
first off,
that's the one where the guy looks in the mirror. That's the one where the guy looks in the mirror and says, "You talking to me?" It's that movie.
Yeah, first off, the main character is a racist. And second off, they try to kill a politician at one point.
What? Are we sure that wasn't a hidden plot or something? That's scary. Wow. So you guys heard it here. Taxi Driver, destroy it. Well, that's amazing. I'm glad that we got the inside scoop on that.
Yeah, I would also recommend staying as far away as you can from anything Tarantino as well. He's someone that loves making white characters say the N-word in his films. If you need any more proof that he's a white supremacist,
and I've even heard Quentin Tarantino has said the N-word in a film before. So
yeah, he did in Pulp Fiction.
It was something to do with coffee. I don't know all the details, but very scary. I would stay away from that movie too.
He saw a cup of coffee and thought he would say the N-word.
Yeah, now that's what happened. It was like, this coffee is so good, I'm going to say the N-word, and it's really that scary, guys. It really is. Now
that's a monster right there.
Now I'm going to have to ask the next question because it has to do with me here. Yeah.
Wait, before we get to the next question, can I recommend a good feminist film?
Oh, please do. I would love to hear it.
All right, so this is a lovely film called Jean Dolman 23 Quatuor Meuse, Mercator van Bruxelles. It is a really good film that shows the struggles that women go through on a day-to-day basis. I would highly recommend checking it out.
Wow.
Plus, it's only like 3.5 hours long, so
yeah, I mean,
it shouldn't be too much.
I mean, with a title like that, I figured that succinctness was one of their strong suits. So I'm surprised 3 hours is really tight for that. But that's going to be that sounds like an amazing film. I'm definitely going to have to commit some time to watch that for sure. Now, I heard you were a fellow witch. Now, I don't know if you know this about me. I'm actually a pretty big witch. I've been known to hex out some people every now and then. But I want to know, how did you first get into the magical arts? And how are you using them to better society?
Well, I was looking at TikTok, and I saw there were a bunch of witches on there that were helping cast spells. Mm-hmm. And I figured this is something that we could really use for the feminist cause.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's beautiful.
I think feminism and witchcraft have long time been linked together, so it's amazing that you're taking the step to really put them together finally.
That leads us on to the next question as well, which is, are there any dangers in being a witchy warrior for feminism?
Good question, Nev. Good question.
So there tend to be a lot of good witches and bad witches. So how with hackers, there's white hat and black hat hackers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I do want to say, Steve, I don't know if we want to perpetuate that black hat hackers are bad just because they're black. I don't know if we want to perpetuate
I mean,
that,
I use a black hat myself, but I wouldn't consider myself to be one of the bad ones.
Maybe we could do maybe the bad hackers could be the white hat hackers, and the good hackers could be the black hat.
Could we at least call them hats of color as well?
Sure. Okay. Good idea. Jeez, there's a lot we have to work on with the hacker thing, But thank you, Steve. Could we get an example of one of your spells, maybe to end off the interview here?
Oh, sure thing. Let me just grow my candles here. I use a good soy blend candle here.
Oh, baby.
Whoa.
That looks good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, no animal products are used whatsoever. Let me just...
That's great.
Everything's
people think that you need to have animal sacrifice for witchcraft. The fact is, most witches in, the past were vegan, and that's just the truth. So get over it. If you think you can't be a vegan witch, you don't know what real witchcraft is. Love the hat, Steve.
No, that is a good hat.
Thank you.
Do you have one of those hats, Norm?
I don't have a witch hat. I had one, but some alt-right asshole stole it from me when I was walking down the street. It was like, I'm not allowed to wear my witch hat every day. I mean, come on. Really, it was a WTF
you gotta get
moment.
a witch hat. They kind of work similar to how antennas are, where sort of the chakras kind of flow through
it focuses down the cone. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, this is real fire, guys, so you got to make sure Steve is careful here. This isn't fake video fire.
All right, okay, we have our candles. I'm just grab my wand here.
Oh, that's
that's
a beautiful wand.
Yeah, and unlike the hats with the wand, you can use pretty much anything. Mm-hmm. There are people out there that will try to sell you a $400 wand. Sure. But literally, you can just go outside and grab a stick and use anything.
That's amazing. Wow. You learn it here first. You can be a witch on a budget, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a stingy witch.
Yeah, so who should I cast this hex on? I'm personally thinking Putin.
I think Putin's good, actually, because I wanted to know if we could even use witchcraft to stop Putin. So maybe we could try it here.
Well, you used witchcraft to stop Donald Trump. Do you remember the hex he cast at the election?
I do, and we won the election. So let's see if we could do the same with Putin here. So, Steve, go ahead.
All right, let me get some atmosphere here.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's supposed to make a noise, but it was completely silent.
Oh, I think it might be broken. So I'm gonna need the both of you to make a humming sound that helps channel the chakras easier.
Okay.
There it is.
Wow.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
And that is, what's that, a hex on Vladimir Putin?
On Vlad. Yeah. Dude, Vlad's gonna be sad after that one, dude. Vlad is going to be very sad after that one. Wow, Steve, that was amazing.
Yeah, so in about 4 to 5 business days,
Vlad should expect a hex.
Yeah. He's going to be experiencing a lot of bad luck.
That's amazing. Guys, we'll keep an eye on the news because we might see the effects of this in real time.
Wow.
And speaking of the news, you know what it's time for, Nev?
It's time to look into the weekly news.
Yeah, time to look into the weekly news. And feel free to keep the hat on, Steve, if you like. It's up to you. So,
oh, sure thing. I don't want to like get too many chakras in me because
sure, that can be dangerous.
But...
That can be very dangerous to get too many chakras in you.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second here while I get the news set up. Nev, I got to ask you here. How are you feeling about having Steve on it? Because I'm honestly very excited. I mean, it's been a while since I've been able to have a fellow witch commune with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't accompany you to the what do you call it now? What do you mean, to my
coven? Circles, my coven?
Yeah, I don't go with you to the coven very much.
I know, and now I finally have a witch friend. But
I know. I mean, it's incredible. You can go to the coven together.
We can. Now, your hex was against Putin, and speaking of Russia, our first story is actually from Russia. Apparently, Russia's set to have their first replacement for McDonald's, and it's called Backdonald's or something like that. They got to let it be.
Is it at least vegan certified?
I don't know, Nev. I'm very worried this place is not going to be vegan. I mean, with the way Russia's acting, I mean, for all we know, there could be horse meat burgers in here, for real. Well, I mean, what do you think about this, Steve?
I mean, with what's going on in Ukraine right now, I mean, I'm almost kind of worried that like they're gonna have like Ukrainian meat, like they're gonna just start implementing cannibalism.
Jeez, I mean, who knows? All I'm saying is, if this McDonald's or whatever they're calling it, just based on the sign, I don't trust it. So, I mean, personally, I'm going to stay away from this. And now, this next piece of news, I really should have put up at the head because I'm sure it's what everybody's already been talking about all week. Somebody want to guess what the next piece of news is? Because you don't have access to the document or anything.
The whole slap thing?
Wow, Nev, you called it. Yeah, it is one of the biggest moments in Oscar history, biggest moments in television even. Jazz hands, everybody. We had a Will Smith smacked Chris Rock on stage. And if this is the black on black crime everybody's talking about, I don't know. It seems pretty tame to me, guys, to be real with you.
Yeah. I mean, now if it was maybe a white person hitting Chris Rock, then we'd serious.
That would be a hate crime. Nev, that would be a hate crime.
Exactly.
If that were to happen. I want to. When will stand-up comedians learn that you can't make a joke without expecting consequences like physical violence?
Yeah.
I mean, where do you stand on this, Steve?
I mean, exactly, right? With people making jokes. I mean, like the alt-right tends to do that all the time, where they'll literally be giving out like racist statistics, and be committing hate crimes and say, "Oh no, it's just a joke. Oh no, I just did this ironically."
Yeah, there's nothing ironic about racism, guys. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, okay?
I think this is a widespread problem with jokes in general. I mean, I'm really glad that at NNN News we have a no-joke policy.
There is absolutely no humor policy at NNN News, and I'm happy. We stand for that. But it's time for stand-up comedians to sit down. I want to thank one of our longtime supporters, Evan Williams, for providing us with what I consider to be one of the most hilarious memes I've ever consumed. This is a picture of this corn pop is labeled over Chris Rock, and Biden is Will Smith, and it's Biden slapping corn pop. And I mean,
no, that's brave.
Ain't that the truth, right? Do you know corn pop, Steve? Are you familiar with corn pop? It's the great story of corn pop.
I have to say I'm not too familiar with corn pop.
Well,
what is that?
Nev, would you like to tell the story?
Long ago, in a place called America, there was this brave young soul named Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. And he was ruthlessly attacked by this terrible person called Corn Pop.
Yeah.
And Corn Pop, as we know, was a bad dude. So Biden had to put him in his place.
I want to say, Nev, Corn Pop was more than a bad dude. Corn Pop was a very rude dude.
Indeed.
But
the rudest of
dudes. With an attitude?
The hugest of attitudes. The hugest of attitudes. So go on, Nev. So what actually, I'll continue the story for here. So essentially what Joe Biden did, as any person who's going to become the U.S. president would, is he put some razor blades inside a metal drum so that they would rust. Something like that. Am I getting it right? And then he tied it to a chain. Or am I getting the story? No. He was going to do the razor blades in the bucket, but then he was like, oh, that's too much. So he's like, I'll just go out there with a chain and show Corn Pop who's boss. Steve, you seem really engaged by this story.
Oh, yeah. I'm listening with open ears.
Well, I'm sure everybody in the audience has already heard the corn pop story, has already heard it. So we're going to get back to what's much more important in the story that probably people haven't heard very much about, which is back to the Will Smith story, because obviously that hasn't been covered by many people. The Academy has officially made some legislation. I imagine this is actually kind of in response to what happened with Will Smith. Where they're now actually making some rules for the minority minimums for various leading cast roles and things like that. So this is fantastic. I mean, what do you guys think about the Oscars being much more inclusive?
It's about
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
It's so true. I gotta wonder, are they going to use like maybe Medea as just standard for minority minimums? I mean, because that's a pretty good standard for me. I mean, a movie where every black person has to play one or two characters, maybe, which would really show off their strength. But some of the rules we do got here, the General Assembly cast has to have at least 30% female actors, or they have to be in a racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ, people with cognitive or physical disabilities. So, Nev, I'm very excited for you to finally get your film career off the ground.
Whoa,
now.
I'm so excited.
I mean, people,
I can't wait.
They're finally seeing that our disabilities are our abilities. So I'm glad that the Oscars are finally taking a stand here against ableism and racism. I mean, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, to be honest with you. And this makes up for the whole slap.
Does it show anything for like MB representation?
Let me see about that. It says LGBTQ, so there's T in there. Right? I don't see any specific NB, though. I think, that's a good point, though. They definitely should have specifically at least one they, them per movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's more to the LGBT than just homosexuals.
For sure. For very sure. In fact, I think homosexuals kind of are trying to overtake the LGBTQ, but that's just me. I think we need to really keep it in space for trans people. Now, to keep the show moving here, more about Will Smith, because, of course, that's what everybody wants to hear about. Biden, of course, weighed in on Will Smith, but he said that they can't officially condemn Will Smith's slap. And, of course, the reason for this is because we're currently at war, and to condemn that would be seen as an action of weakness. So, I mean, pretty logical, pretty wise from Biden there.
A natural response from such a great leader.
Totally. I mean, what do you think about this?
Biden's our boy.
I'm glad to hear it, because obviously Katie came out as not a Biden boy, so I'm happy to hear that you are a Biden boy. I know not all feminists are Biden boys, and that is, that's something I've had to come to accept, even as hard as it is to accept, but it's the truth.
Yeah. So with that whole thing, that whole thing did not sound like her. I'm kind of worried that like maybe she might be getting like held hostage somewhere, and that like she was forced to say that. I'm gonna have to.
Are you telling me that there could be Russian influences on Katie, like that could have voice modulated her, deep faked her during our stream with her? That is scary.
I think that's possible. I mean, as you saw, I mean, she ended up getting disconnected like a third of the way through the episode, and then when she came back, she was suddenly all anti-Biden.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's really just strange, honestly. I mean, I thought that was suspicious, but I didn't suspect Russian influence.
Well,
something is going on there.
That is really scary. I'm glad that that we were able to clear that up, because a lot of people were worried. They were like, "We're Biden boys. We want to support the Biden cause. We want to support Katie." We're glad to hear that. Biden is making a great stand here against humor, against jokes, because that's what we really need the president to do. To continue the Biden talk, the amazing Biden stuff. Biden says that he was just expressing his outrage and not making policy changes when he said Putin cannot remain in power. And of course, this is just another case of Biden being a strong president and making strong statements. And I'm pretty sure, what does it say here? That everybody was thinking what Biden was saying. He just goes out and say it. And
yeah, I mean, he's just braver than most.
Is that not what a leader's supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, checkmate, Republicans. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
come
I'm
on.
glad to see that after we had to go through the fascist Trump regime, that we have someone like Biden that is able to go one step beyond in order to help save America.
Now, the next person here, I don't even really want to talk about this person because they're totally like a narcissist. But our next story is about Elon Musk. Sorry that I'm even bringing up their name here. I know. So Elon Musk says that Russian rocket engines Boeing and Lockheed Martin use are great amid the country's decision to stop supplying the U.S. So I guess he's trying to throw shade on these companies, but Elon apparently doesn't think all is fair in love and war. I gotta wonder: is Elon Musk a Russian asset at this point? Do we know?
I think so.
What do you think,
I think
Steve?
it's possible for sure.
Because I mean, the way it seems like he's trying to stoke some sort of crazy conflict or something here.
Like, isn't Musk like a Russian name anyway?
That's a very good point. Somebody has to. We might need to fact check it or Google that at some point because that.
Evan, can you check that? Like, fact check that, please.
Yeah, drop it in the comments, Evan, if it's true that he is a Russian asset, a Russian name even. I mean, that is very scarily possible here.
Well, at this point, even if that's true with what's going on with Russia, like, would they even be able to like release that publicly? Like, I don't know, maybe there's some Russian infiltrators trying to edit the Wikipedia page.
So apparently, are we saying that these oil companies apparently don't have our best interests in mind? Because all of these oil companies are apparently encouraging the Russian-Ukraine conflict. I mean, this seems weird, right? I had been under the idea that all these oil companies, like they liked us, right?
Yeah.
What is this, Steve? Is this like? I mean, people talk about like a military-industrial complex. I thought that was just, libertarian BS. Is it true? Are the oil companies, do they really not care about us, Steve?
I think they care about us. I mean, especially with the gasoline, the way that they're raising up the prices. I think this is the perfect way to, help support Ukraine. Get more troops out there. Help get us out of debt that Trump started.
Of course, I mean they're raising the prices because they're trying to support the war. I mean, this is a really confusing story, and honestly, I think we shouldn't even dwell on it. To be real with you, to be very real with you.
Yeah, like, I don't get, like, all these right-wingers to talk about how high the gas prices are. Like, is gas really more important to you than the lives of other people? Shame on you.
Come on, buddy. Just take a walk, all right? It's not a big deal. Now,
get a bike or something.
Yeah, get a bike or something. Speaking of, if we all got bikes, we could be more like Amsterdam. And, speaking of Amsterdam, the House is trying to decriminalize marijuana, apparently. I think this is a very scary idea. I mean, could you imagine the impact of having all these reefer addicts on the street?
No, aren't you one of those addicts?
Nev, you need to stop slandering me on this show.
No, I'm just asking. Just a well thought out.
I have Nev. I have lawyer Randy on speed dial for this. All right.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to retract that comment.
I thought Biden was all for law and order. How could he let a thing like this pass? I hope Biden vetoes this. I mean, Steve, what do you think about this? You're anti-weed, right? You're not a weed head, are you?
Yeah, I'm not too big on weed. Actually, now that I think about it, I think we should only let people of color be able to use marijuana.
Okay, now
because with all the stress that they have to go through, I think it might be a useful tool for them.
That is a bill I would support.
Balance things out.
That would be a bill I would support if it said only POCs get weed. Sure, but all these whiteys who want weed, I mean, they're making a bad name for it. To be real with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cultural appropriation right there.
It really is. So well said, Steve. So well said. Apparently there's this bill out here, and I'm not really good with bills. Apparently you're supposed to read the whole thing, but I usually just kind of read like the name of the bill, and I guess that's not enough. This bill is called the Don't Say Gay bill. It's controversial, so I don't know if this is a good thing or if a bad thing. If it's saying we can't call people gay, I guess that's a good thing, right? As like an insult. But if it's saying we just can't say it in general, I don't know, Steve. I mean, you seem more well-researched. Do you know any more about this bill?
Not necessarily. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. Wow. I think maybe what they might be trying to imply is that, you can not use it as an insult anymore, which is a good thing. That would help reduce the rate of hate crimes.
That'd be good. I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, I'm in support of it. But I'm worried that this could be like just say no, which was a bad one. But just say no is to drugs. I'm thinking of don't ask, don't tell. See, they make these so confusing. Why can't they just have a very straightforward name that Why do the names always have to be so obfuscated?
Yeah, like why can't the name of these bills just say exactly what they mean?
Sure, I don't know. I guess that would make it too easy for people to understand them. But that's I mean, obviously we need political analysts for a reason, guys. And we can't have them losing a job here. Now, I want to say I am so excited about this. This is probably the most exciting story of the show. The U.S. has officially announced the second COVID booster shot pack is dropping. Biden the booster packs.
Woohoo!
Can we all do some jazz hands for that? That's amazing.
Round of jazz hands.
That is so amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, Steve, what are you going to do to celebrate? You being able to get another Biden booster. Do you have anything?
So, in our server, we have a personal doctor by the name of Tapioca who was able to hook me up with this.
You got the
second
hookup
season early.
Dude, that's awesome. You got the hookup. Now everybody is always looking for the vaccine hookup. That's amazing.
Yeah, and also to celebrate getting my 5th booster, I also got a reward for it.
Wow, nice. What did you get?
What was your? Yeah, let's see it. And hopefully everybody can look forward to getting this.
This is a limited edition, one of a kind, Dr. Anthony Fauci Funko Pop.
Oh my! That is an amazing Funkio Pop.
It's beautiful.
Wow,
yeah, I like to call it the Fauci Pop personally.
The Fauci Pop, the Fauci Funko.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that's really if that's not going to get the anti-vaxxers to get the shot, I don't know what will. That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's also one of a kind since this is the only one that's been made so far, so it has a lot of value to it. I'd say
Like
it's
an
around
NFT.
like $700 to $800 yet. So I like to keep it in this little jar here just to make sure it doesn't get like dust on it and it doesn't get damaged.
Yeah. Oh, can I look at that jar again? That looks perfect.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's definitely going to keep it safe, and that's also, I think, going to keep it COVID compliant, right? I mean, that's like
True.
a safety distance jar. Well, that's great. Well, make sure to give us updates on the Fauci jar if anything happens to it.
Sure thing.
Now, the next one is another yay, to be honest with you. The Biden administration has announced that Title 42, which were the Trump-era pandemic restrictions on the U.S. border, is over. Woo!
Nice. Woo-hoo.
Let's
Let's
open
get some more jazz hands for that.
Yeah, jazz hands for that, guys. Everybody open up them borders. I'm very excited for this. One thing I want to know is this mean we're finally going to get the kids out of the cages? I don't know if they were part of the pandemic era stuff, I think. I'm pretty sure, because they definitely wouldn't, leave that out. Hopefully that they're still going to be doing the social distancing, though, at the border, because I think the social distance border checks were really like a great idea, where they just, they have the dog keep 6 feet away from the car when it's sniffing, that sort of stuff. It's really great.
They're really making sure that people don't get COVID when they come into America.
Yeah. And, Biden just keeps on slamming out these amazing bills. Biden's new bill makes lynching a federal hate crime.
Was that not a crime already?
Yeah, I'm glad they finally made it a crime, because I guess it wasn't before this. But I guess I thought it was illegal before this, but my guess is maybe Trump took it off the books or something like that. I think that's probably what it is. But I'm glad that he made it a hate crime, because, I mean, a federal hate crime, too, because that really humongous.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything wrong in the world, the safest bet is to blame Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to do a little trigger warning here, The next article does have the word police in the title.
Oh, no.
So if you're an ACAB, avert your eyes. Police... 2 dots. I don't know what those dots are. Intoxicated man jumps fence at Midway, attempts to climb on private jet. I'm glad that Steve is averting his eyes. So I've taken it off screen. You can unblock your eyes again. I mean, this is one of these cases where I didn't know this was illegal. That you could not just jump a fence and go onto a private jet. I thought that you were allowed to. I mean, it's just a late arrival, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did anyone even ask him if he had a ticket?
Private jets anyway. Why do they add private in front of it?
I think it has something to do with the military, Nev. Because the private is the first rank in the military.
Yeah.
So it's something like that. But I'm pretty sure no one even asked him if he had a ticket. What does this country come to?
They're at an airport. They most likely have a ticket.
Especially if they're just arriving on, if they're arriving on the tarmac, it probably means that they're a VIP. So they really should be treated as such here. Now, I don't know how I feel about the next one. I don't really like the Pope, organized religion, sky god, who knows. But the Pope apparently is making a pretty historic apology to the indigenous people of Canada. which is pretty cool of the Pope, to be real with you. I mean, this guy was also pro-gay, so maybe this is a good Pope. I mean, what do you think?
I think this is the best Pope ever.
So, certainly the best Pope we've had so far, but like, I mean, what do you think he should apologize next for, Steve?
I think he should probably apologize for slavery.
Definitely a good one. I mean, I think if he does that, he's really going to be able to show people that the Catholic Church has gotten past all of its problems, for sure. You know, because these apologies are definitely going to make up for everything they've done.
I mean, I just feel really happy for these indigenous people who can finally breathe a sigh of relief now that the Pope has apologized.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they were certainly just going to be waiting on the edge of their seat for that apology. You know,
yeah.
I'm sure for years they've been asking for it, but they just haven't gotten it yet. So I'm glad that he finally did it. I'm glad that he finally did here. Now,
one thing I will say, though,
go ahead.
So I know there's a lot of stuff in the Bible about not being able to practice witchcraft and like having to go to hell for that.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's something that the Pope's going to have to apologize for as well.
I would love for the Pope to come out as pro-witch. I mean, that would be a big step in the right direction if the Pope ever wants to regain any traction with the youth, to be real with you. But that's just what I think.
You're really going to have to tap into that witch market.
Yeah, speaking about gaining traction with the youth, Biden thinks that, people think that by having complete student loan forgiveness, we could lure nearly half of Americans to vote. I mean, wouldn't that be exciting? We could almost get 50% of the country to vote. I mean, isn't that amazing?
Whoa. I mean, we are talking about the right half, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Half.
Oh.
Well, I mean, student loans, I mean, that's for smart people, right? So definitely Democrats.
Yeah, you're not going to be seeing a lot of red votes there if we're talking about people that are like going to college and getting educated.
Yep, totally. I only think the next thing we need to do for voting to get more votes that might work better than this. I've been saying it for years, text-in voting. We need it. They have it for the Kids' Choice Awards. They have it for American Idol. Why can't they have it for the American election? I mean, it would be a system that everybody could get into.
By email. Why can't I do that?
Sure, vote by email works too. I guess not everybody has a cellular telephone to text. So that's a very good point, Nev. A very good point, Nev. Now,
what they might also need to do as well is if we want a bunch of the youth voting, is we might need to make like a Roblox game where you can just go in and then select what you want to vote for.
That's amazing. Yeah, Roblox voting should be the next thing on the docket here.
That would help encourage millions to vote. Yeah.
So, U.S. estimates that nearly a quarter of Russian forces are dedicated to Ukraine. I mean, what's that? What's a quarter? Like 10,000 rubles?
Yeah, something like that.
What's the conversion of that? So, I mean, that's a lot of rubles worth of troops. I mean, this is very crazy, and this whole news segment has been very crazy. But I have to give a trigger warning because I don't know. Do you know what the next segment of the news is, Steve? Because it's a particularly scary segment.
I'm not sure. I'm a bit worried though.
It's called the Trump Watch, and it never stops.
Oh,
it never ends. Never ends.
So we are continuing our continuous coverage of Donald J. Trump. We will not let this man sleep. To get into our first DJ story of the night here, judge has ruled that Trump more likely than not committed a crime trying to block Biden's win. I'm so happy about this. I knew that him blocking Biden had to be a crime, and that they just weren't saying it. I mean, don't you guys agree?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, they're the president. If you're not able to hear what the president has to say, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And definitely, people need to place their political bets here on how many years Trump is going to be incarcerated for. My guess, a couple hundred at least. I'm thinking maybe they put him in a cryostasis so he can serve even more years. Definitely a possibility for a man who did so much pussy grabbing and dangerous stuff like that. I mean, we need to really thank the great Postal Service for standing up against Trump and all of this ballot tomfoolery that he was doing to try to stop Biden's win. Because without the Postal Service, I don't think we would have been able to stop him, to be real with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ever since that happened, I've just been like ordering packages nonstop just to help support them.
Yeah, and I put an extra couple stamps on every one of my letters. I just say for the homies on the stamp, and they understand. It's great.
Yeah, it's like you have a little collage in the envelope.
Yeah. Now, everybody has, of course, been wondering what's going to happen about January 6th. Of course, we got 2 of Trump's aides are now being charged with contempt for what happened on January 6th. This is great. I mean, if it was up to me, any alt-right advocate who visited the Capitol in the last decade would be arrested, because all we know, they could have just been, casing the Capitol for this January 6th event. We really need to consider the long-term,
I think this
history
is planned
here.
since 2016.
Definitely possible. So either we should get a full list of any conservative that was in the Capitol from 2016 to now, and just, keep it, because for all we know, they could definitely be part of the January 6th insurrectionists, just working behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think from now on, if someone that voted for Trump is going to the Capitol, they should have to wear some sort of badge or have some sort of armband that they have to wear in order for people to know that they're a Trump supporter.
Yeah, they definitely,
and also for security to know who to look out for.
Yeah, I definitely think that Trump supporters should have to register with the state. I bet they wish they had went with Hillary instead of Trump now. These aides who ended up being roasted for the January 6th thing. They definitely got egg on their face.
Oh, yeah, they voted the wrong way.
Now, everybody's wondering, there's this gap in the phone call history during the January 6th event with Donald Trump. 7-hour gap, and Trump has actually given me the only excuse from him that I believe. Trump has said that he was watching a 7-hour shark marathon on Discovery. To be honest with you, and I hate to agree with Trump, but I do believe that maybe Trump was watching this for 7 hours.
You think they were? I don't know.
You don't? Well, but maybe they don't watch documentaries, because Shark Week is a documentary after all.
Yeah, Trump was very negative about the Korean film Parasite, so I don't know if they would have the attention span. If they weren't able to watch a 2-hour-long film, how are we supposed to know they're not able to watch a 7-hour-long documentary?
Yeah. That is a good point. That is a good point. See, I just thought because it was sharks, but you do make a good point. I don't know if Trump can even sit down for 7 hours without getting up for McDonald's or something. So you make a very good point. And of course, this story is just more about what I was saying. There is a 7-hour phone gap. My other guess, they were talking about burner phones, right? So maybe he had a burner phone. I thought maybe he was doing a 7-hour Pizza Hut order on a burner phone, and that's why there was a gap. That was just another theory of mine.
It is possible. Trump is, known for eating meat and supporting Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm. Two of the scariest things you can do, to be honest.
Yeah, probably the reason why it took 7 hours is because they just kept adding more and more meat to it because they're that bad of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, sir, are you sure you want to have extra sausage? She's like, give me extra sauce. And it just keeps on going on and on. Very scary. And speaking of very scary, Trump's relationship with Putin is very scary. Trump has brazenly asked Putin to release the dirt on Biden's family. Is this not what happened with the whole Ukraine phone call too? So now Trump is asking both sides of this conflict for information on Biden. What WTF would he do that for? Is this not a war crime at this point?
This is harassment.
Yeah, it's Biden. What else would they do?
Yeah. I will say I'm happy that it's Biden, because I know that they will find no dirt on our squeaky clean commander-in-chief. I'm confident about that. So do all the searching you want, Putin, because you ain't going to find nothing.
The only thing you're going to find is an American hero.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jazz hands.
And you know what? Speaking of an American hero, I don't want to say this, but Mitt Romney might be an American hero, because Mitt Romney stood up against Trump, and he took the loss against Obama with grace. So, I want to say I do like Romney. And Romney has said that NATO should rethink the U.S. relationship if Trump wins in 2024. And he's being serious. But he's warning the American people that we cannot let Trump win in 2024. I'm glad that we have some woke Republicans like this guy, Romney, out here. What are your thoughts here, Steve?
I think, Mitt Romney's going in the right direction. I personally believe that, people can reform, people can, stop being associated with the alt-right. And I think we're seeing Mitt Romney take their first steps into becoming progressive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Our last article here is from the Washington Post. Now, before we had some issues with the Washington Post, they got this big thing on the screen. It's like free to try. It's like $4. So my lawyer told me a way to get around this, everybody. So all you got to do is press F12. How does this work? Is this working? Yeah, you press F12. Then you just click.
Make sure everyone's doing this at home.
Yeah, make sure everybody's doing this at home. You just click on the thing. Oh, geez. Okay. And then you just press delete. And then you just click on the part that's grayed out. Make sure you get the right thing. And just press delete. And there you go. Now we can see what was behind that paywall. And we can see it's a very important article. Donald Trump has released the most Donald Trump statement ever.
Really?
I mean, as you can see, that's definitely the sort of article that you want to pay $4 a month for. What was it? I mean, definitely worth every penny of that. Now, sadly, it won't actually let me scroll down when you do the inspect elements. You can't actually scroll down. So we can't actually see what the statement was, but I'm sure it's definitely worth $4. So everybody, go spend $4 to get the Washington Post and support your local newspaper because they still make good articles. I can tell you that.
Yeah, journalists need more support than ever these days.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so true. But I want to say thank you, Steve, for coming on the show. It was fantastic.
Before we go, can I announce one more thing?
Oh, please do,
go ahead.
Steve.
All right, so I plan on running for president.
Wow. Do we have the inside scoop on that?
Yeah, so
That's
my
amazing.
goal is to become not only the first, but the best MB president that America's ever seen.
It's incredible.
You guys heard it here first.
Yeah.
We have the first NB presidential candidate on the podcast. Wow, Steve, thank you for dropping that truth bomb on everyone.
And what about Biden?
Are
you going to run instead of him in 2024?
Well, we'll just have to see what happens.
I'm personally waiting till like after Biden is out of office.
Beautifully respectful.
Yeah, and also I need to figure out because apparently you have to be at least like 35 to run for president.
That's BS, dude.
And I'm under 35, so I might need to like try and get like a fake ID for that in order to run.
Okay, I know some guys who can get you a fake ID, dude. So we'll work it out. Anyway. Everybody, remember to stay black. Vote for Feminist Steve in the upcoming election, 2028. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Stand with Steve.
Stand with him.